Yeah, I decided that shelter in place would be more tolerable with air conditioning. So I got a couple of these EdgeStar AP14001HS dual hose portable air conditioners. And the reason I got the portable kind is because they won't let me stick something out the window here. So this has two hoses. There's an intake and an exhaust. Or I think it's actually switched around in this case. So yeah, there's the intake hose that sucks in exterior air, and then it runs through the condenser at the bottom, and the air gets hot, and then it gets spit out the exhaust hose back into the environment. And so the theory is you're exhausting all of your heat using air that came from outside. So you don't want to take the nice air-conditioned interior air and send it out the exhaust hose like a single hose air conditioner would do. But the problem is they designed this thing. I don't know what they were thinking, but when I run it, the air coming into the intake hose is much less than the air through the exhaust hose. Like, I think physics says there should be a bit more air coming out, but it's only like maybe 8% or something for the temperature difference between these. So, in an ideal functioning dual hose air conditioner, these should feel about the same in terms of like windiness. And the problem is it's not like that at all. It's like this is nothing and this is a torrent. And the problem is that the case of this unit, it's like they didn't really design it for dual hose. There's a vent right here. What I'm doing is covering up all the vents except for this. So there's a vent here that I've taped over. There's, I mean, it's pretty small, but I can't really get the camera under very easily without tipping this whole thing over. But basically, if you feel while it's running, the entire lower front of this unit is just sucking in air. And I wrote to the manufacturer, to EdgeStar, and they said that this gap down here is a water overflow. And they also said it was not bad to cover it up. So, yeah, so I think it's reasonably safe to just seal this thing and have all of your intake air going into the intake hose, so that I don't want room air getting out the exhaust, because that's wasteful. Like, why did they design this thing this way? I don't know. But so that port, I mean, the big gap at the bottom front is one of the big ways that room air is leaking in. The other one is down here, like all around this perimeter. This isn't solid plastic. Like, if you look underneath through these gaps, you see into the compartment. So yeah, basically there are gaps here, and I think the way you can seal these is just tape. Or once the hose is attached, just put tape, any kind of tape that's not going to let air through easily, around the hose. And I think it might, I don't know if there's any point taping off this one, but I guess it's fine for good measure. Just prevent any air from getting in this crack. It's a good idea anyway, because the sides of the hoses even have little holes in them, so you can feel air just leaking out of the hose. So yeah, if you want to be optimally efficient, then just tape around the hose and around the hose. But up here, the problem is there's a gap that runs like along the sides, and so this compartment down here is open to, like, I can feel when my fingers are around here, they're kind of in a void space here. So this is connected. And the solution that I've found to that is if you have a thin piece of plastic, or I'm planning to get plastic, this is just a cereal box to kind of test it out. I want a thin piece of probably flexible plastic. I don't know what kind yet. I'll have to look on eBay and like see what they sell. Anyway, so thin flexible plastic, it just slots in here and goes down. So yeah, so you have to cut it to size, and the shape of the bottom here is not the final shape, but it is roughly U-shaped. Like, you can see it's taller at the edges than in the middle. And I think I'm going to have to open this up in order to find out the exact shape of the bottom. But this is good enough for demonstration purposes. I can't open the unit until I get a longer screwdriver. Then I'll show you what happens when you turn it on. Basically, you get this thing running, the air conditioner. It's going to be sucking air in here and blowing air out here. And when I briefly cover up the intake, you're going to see that there's going to be suction here. So that shows that there is a connected air compartment, and that when I cover this thing up, then this is where the vacuum wants to come from. Or it's trying to suck air into my intake from the room and then down here and out the exhausts, and I don't want that. So I can show when I cover this up, it sucks. And I think that's basically the major sources. Like, there might be some little internal things, like where pipes and wires go, but I mean, I don't need a hermetic seal. I just want to be reasonably efficient. Alright, that's all I'm doing for now until I get a foot-long No. 2 Phillips screwdriver so I can actually get this thing open.